It's a moment set aside for blessing and sending forth. Most of you, if you think about it, you have been commissioned in your life. Maybe it wasn't in a religious way. I feel that I received a tremendous commission 17 years ago, yesterday, when I was ordained at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Medford. But you may have been commissioned as well, even if you're not ordained, when you were bar mitzvahed, for instance, as some of you were, and you were told, now you are a man. You are ready to take up the Torah. Or when you graduated from high school or college, and that speaker did his or her best to charge you to be a good citizen and keep learning and to appreciate good old alma mater and remember it in your will. That was a kind of a commissioning and a charge. You were commissioned on your wedding day, married people. If you listened for it, if you were able to listen at all in that moment of nerves when you stood up there with your beloved. When you were joined in holy matrimony to one another and to that one other with whom you exchanged vows, the minister or the justice of the peace may have said in some way, go now and love each other, and may your love be a blessing in the world. Now that may have seemed at the time just to be a blessing, a good word, which is actually what benediction means, bene, good, diction, to speak of. But there was an instruction in there. Go and love each other. I was trying to think of a commission involving fathers in honor of Father's Day today, and I immediately thought of the wonderful, overly verbose life instructions old Dad Polonius gives his son Laertes before Laertes goes off to military service, and this is from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Polonius, who's a bit of an old windbag, throws so much advice at Laertes that it's really funny. But actually in that barrage of advice there are some wonderful tidbits of true wisdom and a real commission. So I'll share with you an excerpt from that monologue. He says, Yet hear, Laertes, aboard, for shame, the wind sits on the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, calls him back, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory look thou character. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, there the opposed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulleth edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell, my blessing season this in thee. I bet you thought that was from Emerson or the Bible, didn't you? Right? To thine own self be true. It's old Dad Polonius. In order for us to take any commission seriously, to honor it, we must honor the source from which it comes, from which it is bestowed. We must honor that God or that community that pronounces it. There is a covenantal aspect to commissioning. And that's what lifts a commission out of the realm of advice and makes it something sacred. Today we are commissioning a group from among us to represent our congregation beyond these walls and into a broader community. Our General Assembly delegates will join with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists from around the world in Providence, Rhode Island from June 25th through the 29th. There they will attend workshops and lectures, worship services and plenary sessions, which will address a broad scope of denominational concerns and set our Association of Congregations agenda for the next years. The youth who are attending GA will meet in Youth Caucus to do the same, and they'll connect with other young UUs from all over the world. General Assembly is a huge commitment, an 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. day crammed full of activity and discernment and learning and fellowship. Our travelers to Kamenfava, did I pronounce that correctly? Kamenfava, Transylvania, will go in August to share fellowship and support with our partner church, which is located in an ethnic Hungarian village in Romania. In the 16th century, if you're wondering, how did Unitarians get into rural Transylvania, into rural Romania? That little kingdom of Transylvania had a theologically Unitarian king who, after a debate between theologians, passed an edict of religious tolerance in 1568. It was the first edict or a promise to religious tolerance anywhere in Europe. It's a really proud history that we have. That king, who was named John Sigismund, died 3 years later when he was only 31. It may have been an assassination, we don't know. And the court theologian who had argued in Unitarian theological terms and greatly influenced him, a man named Francis David, died in prison, in a dungeon, soon after that, for his radical ideas. But the liberal religious tradition of Unitarianism survived among the people, and although they also have been persecuted throughout history and remain an oppressed ethnic and religious minority under the Romanian government, there our Unitarian villages remain, and we are their friends. And by the way, they are awesome. So at some point you may think about making a pilgrimage to Transylvania yourself. You too, all of you, will be sent forth from this faith community into your world. Whoever you are, whatever you are going to do in the next weeks. In all your relationships, in all your encounters, in the conversation that goes on in your mind between all those battling aspects of your own being. The ideals and the vision of this religious community want always to send you forth commissioned, not to baptize in anyone's name, but to bless the world and to bless yourself within it. Do we aim to convert? Not exactly. Not exactly. But, if we don't wish to influence ourselves and our lives through doing this together, why would we put in the effort? If spiritual life is to us, a personal comfort, then we should at least, as far as we are able, extend that comfort to those who also need it whenever we're able, right? If religious life is to us a challenge and an invitation, then we should meet it. If religious life and the spiritual quest for meaning makes life feel deeper and richer for us, wouldn't we want to share that depth of spirit and of experience with the souls we share this life with? Even those we don't think of as kindred spirits? We should. Do we aim to convert? You know what? In our own way, we do. We do not evangelize to convert people from one religious faith to another. No one who joins with a Unitarian Universalist community or joins an actual Unitarian Universalist congregation ever has to convert from something to something else. But we aim to convert despair to hope. We aim to convert apathy to engagement. We aim to convert fear to openness and appreciation. As our General Assembly theme goes, we reach out in love. And that starts every day when we wake up and know that we are worthy, that our own lives matter deeply to the God who is beyond our comprehension. And we open our hearts and minds to accept that blessing. And then to try as well as we can to do something with that blessing. And now we commission those who will go forth in the coming weeks to represent this community in the wider denomination and in the village of Kamenfava among our Transylvanian brothers and sisters. Would the delegates to General Assembly, the Youth Caucus, and the Transylvanian Partner Church partners please come up to the High Chancel. Will you help them line up? Just help them line up. And take your water. All right, take your water. I'm going to lead the congregation. Congregation, will you please rise as you are able and join me in this reading of commission. As you go forth to represent our congregation in Providence and in Cabin Fava, but go with our blessing, anointed by water gathered at our water communion. The blessing on your head is for mindfulness, that you may be guided by the spirit of wisdom in all your deliberations. The blessing on your hands is for compassion, that you may be a kind and healing presence where you go, representing the care of this congregation. The blessing on your feet is for safe travels. May you be well in all your comings and goings. May God be with you in all your thoughts, words, and deeds. May you represent our faith and our congregation honorably as our presence in the greater movement and the world. Thank you. You may be